We're live. Okay, I'd like to call the Board of Light and Power October Board Meeting to order. Daniel, would you call the roll, please?
Director Crum,
Here.
Director Knoth,
Here.
Director Poliak is absent. Director Welling,
Here.
Chairperson Westbrook.
Here. Can I get a motion to excuse Director Poliak for personal reasons?
I'll make the motion.
Second. Okay, discussion. Hearing none. Danielle, would you call the roll, please?
Crum,
Yes.
Knoth,
Yes.
Welling,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes. Next item on the agenda tonight is to approve tonight's meeting agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion. Second.
Motion and second, discussion. Danielle, would you call the roll, please?
Crum,
Yes.
Knoth,
Yes.
Welling,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, this is one of two opportunities to hear comments from the general public. We ask that each commenter provide their name and address and any affiliated organization that they may be representing for the record. We respectfully ask that comments are limited to 3 minutes each. Austin will be our timekeeper. Jeffrey Miller.
I'm within 15 seconds, so bear with me.
Okay.
My name is Jeffrey Miller, and I live at 1120 South Harbor Drive in Grand Haven. This is my 11th year attending BLP board meetings. I first want to thank everyone at the BLP, except one person, for the warm welcome I received when I attended last week's open house. I appreciate the tour Mike Westbrook afforded me and Larry Keefe regarding the new changing room facilities for staff. I appreciated the constructive conversation I had with Mike Welling when I was visiting the outside of the control room. And thanks to Eric Booth for some BLP bling I scored at the end of the open house. While the idea of the BLP staff wearing "Hello, my name" tags was helpful, for future open houses, you might want to consider also having an additional sticker identifying the job that the employees do for the visitors to read. While I saw and heard promotions of the open house in both the Tribune and on WAWL, I think having the open houses start in the middle of the afternoon might be adjusted to replicate what Grand Haven's Public Safety Department did for their open house just the day before. They started at 5, not 3:30, and they went to 7:30. The BLTP might consider half-hour drawings for free stuff and promote free food to encourage greater attendance. That way families can come after working hours and the whole family can learn more about all the good things that the BLP is doing. In that same vein, I would urge again that the board of directors consider starting their monthly meetings later than 6 p.m. in 2026 and move them to City Hall. Were Danielle to give you a spreadsheet of everyone who attended all of the board meetings in 2025, let alone speak, it would pale in comparison to the number of residents that attend city council meetings. And after all, don't you want more community engagement with your customers and stakeholders, not less? I also strongly urge the management team within the BLP to reach out to various sectors of your stakeholder base. What are the thoughts of the faith-based organizations within your service area? To better open the lines of communication with the environmental community, why don't you have discussions with the Sierra Club, the Green Clubs at the various high schools? Learn what West Michigan Environmental Action Coalition priorities are. And what about the not-for-profit organizations in the community? Talk to the Grand Haven Community Foundation, the YMCA, the Coast Guard Festival Committee, and others. In my opinion, the BLP still operates within a silo, not knowing what various stakeholder groups believe, feel, or want. And finally, I'd like to bring to your attention to the SWOT analysis threats column on page 6 of the 2026. Let me one paragraph, and then we can, instead of me reading this at the end, there's just one paragraph, I beg of you.
Okay.
Thank you. So what I'd urge you to do, is take a look at the SWOT analysis threats column on page 6 of the 2022-2026 strategic plan. In it, I quote, "Increased public interest and community activism around BLP activities require more dedicated resources to appropriately respond and address. Shame on the past board and past management team for identifying the enemy as some of their very own stakeholders. I trust when the newly elected board and new management team develops a new strategic plan in 2026 or 2027, they will see all segments of the community as assets, friends, and allies to work with and to get things done." Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the extra 30 seconds.
Hey, can I get a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Bob, any comments on the?
Yeah, I
any of the
wanted to
items?
point out, after Public Act 202, I think this might be one of the first times you guys have seen this, and I apologize. I don't know if Lynn told me that we're supposed to be giving this out to the board. What this is really is a checklist that the state requires us to fill out as a report to make sure that we are properly funded for our pension and our other post-employment benefits. So what it is a simple spreadsheet we fill out and tells you what the different funding levels we are at, what our liabilities are, and at the end of it is a checklist to say, does it flag more attention or not? Happy to say we're in a good position on all of them, but I think it was worthwhile pointing out, this is the first time first time I remember seeing it in a board packet. So first time you guys have seen it. So I want to make sure you understood what it was. I know there's been some discussion in the past about making sure we keep an eye on our funding levels. And I think, at least for exception, the pension, we will get an actuarial report in December every year of that. And I think that's when we give that report to the board. Would be something we could look at that time and decide if there's something we need to put in the budget for the next year, if we need to increase any funding in that. This is a look to the past and asking, are we in a trouble spot? And we're not. We're in very good shape. So like I said, I just wanted to point out what that was. And, I believe I was told we are to give this to our governing bodies for their review. So that.
Questions for Rob on the Public Act 202? I see the KPIs are back in the green for reliability, so very good. Danielle, would you call the roll, please?
Crum,
Yes.
Knoth,
Yes.
Welling,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes. Please get a motion to approve the 3 purchase orders totaling $189,058.
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Rob? you were
Yeah,
good.
there's a couple of POs I put together there, notes in the general manager report this month. And it's worth talking about in the meeting as well. So start with the PO to Turnkey Network Solutions. So when we rebuilt our transmission system, starting in like 2017, 2018, we rebuilt all 4 segments of our line. We put in what they call optical ground wire or fiber optic in our static wire. So the very top wire on those big steel poles you see actually has fiber optic in it. And we did that so we could connect all our facilities and sites and bring all that information back here for grid monitoring, security cameras, all that type of stuff we would use computer access for. We did not put fiber underneath the Grand River. So if you pay attention, when you're crossing the drawbridge, you look off to the west, you'll see that we have riser poles and the transmission actually goes under the river there. At the time we said, boy, that's really expensive. Does it make sense to spend the money on that? Fast forward to recently, one of our neighboring utilities, Wolverine, has come to us and said, hey, we're doing the same thing you did. We put fiber optic all around our transmission system. But if you know the history of the Grand Haven transmissions, was built by Wolverine. So they've got this, I'll say, black spot between one end of their system and the other end. Would you be willing to enter to some kind of a lease to connect A to B? Well, sure, we'd be willing to talk about it. We've been having those conversations. So what are we're going down that path. Wolverine said, well, let's figure out what that cost would be to even connect across the river. What are we talking about here? So on and so forth. So we partnered with them, and them meaning Wolverine and Turnkey, who is their preferred fiber contractor. So what we would have to do is we'll actually have to take, in order to the transmission line, we'll have to remove the ground wire out of the existing conduit across the river, pull a new ground wire with fiber optic across the river, and then connect it at both ends. So working with them, trying to figure out what the cost would be, et cetera. We partnered with Turnkey to kind of do a engineered design quote all in one thing. We are recommending, we'd like to move forward with this. It is different than our normal purchasing policy because we did not go out and solicit 3 different bids. We worked with the neighboring utilities preferred vendor. We are getting their preferred vendor pricing. So I think it would be more expensive and especially more time consuming to go out and try to put together engineered drawings, a bid package, so on and so forth, to probably end up paying a higher price. So staff is recommending that we move forward with this roughly $80,000 PO to get that fiber across the river. Well, that will allow us to continue to facilitate discussions with Wolverine to lease them fiber. In our preliminary discussions, it looks like we'll be able to get all this fiber installed and still put some money in our pocket at the end of the day for the amount of money we're talking about leasing it for. So easy way of saying it is we get a completed fiber system at no cost to the BLP ratepayers, and we just have to give someone a lease to use some of that fiber, and we'll have more than enough capacity for our own use. So with that, I'll entertain any questions about how we got where we're at or what it is.
How many strands?
So our system is 48 strands of fiber. And so we would put, I think they're planning on putting 96, 144 across the river. So it'll be kind of dead, stranded strands at the time until if we ever want to improve our system. But yeah, they're looking to get a total in the conversation we're having now is of 12 strands. So that'll leave 36 strands for BLP use. If we go forward. Doing this does not say we have to do anything with Wolverine, but if we don't do it, obviously we can't lease some fiber if we don't have fiber system, right? So it's just the first step.
Rough order of magnitude in terms of the lease rates?
Lease rate in the neighborhood of probably 150 for the 20 years.
Questions? So that really optimizes the relaying, optimizes our communication to our substation. The relaying can actually be optically coupled.
Yes.
Is that what Wolverine's end game is here? System reliability with their relaying, whipping through our fiber?
Not the relaying so much. You're right, we could do that. So right now we have existing fiber connecting all of our sites. We found it at the time cheaper for us to go, we end up buying fiber in an existing fiber optic crossing at the river. So this will actually complete a loop for us. We'll make our fiber system more reliable because we have redundancy.
And more secure.
More secure, it's ours, right? It doesn't go anywhere else. So yes, we can use it for you're talking about current differentials on transmission lines. Yes, we can do it for that. Wolverine wouldn't do that, but they're like us. They have security cameras, they have SCADA systems, metering data, all that type of stuff they need to push around their network. And as you know, Mike, we interface with them at our northern point at Sternberg substation, and we interface with them at the southern point at our Ossipoff substation. So they're saying, how do I get from one end of Grand Haven system to the other end of Grand Haven system? Either I have to build it or I can partner with somebody, i.e. Grand Haven, and get through
Complete the loop, yeah.
Complete the loop.
And it completes their whole loop around the state then too, probably.
Correct. So that's their big push for it. And really the big thing for us is, like you said, it completes our loop. So we have multiple ways to get back. So our system's set up, if one strand of fiber gets cut, we can transfer and go another direction. So right now we're single-ended headed to the north. This will give us another option to make that complete connection. And then we could use it for other things. Like I said, we're using it for our security cameras. We're using it for our SCADA,
communication,
all our communications, et cetera. So, it's a good thing to have. And especially if you can get someone else to basically foot the bill for it.
A win-win.
Yeah, that's how.
Yep.
But like I said, it doesn't meet our 100% of our purchasing policy. That's why the discussion today, so you guys understand or are comfortable with what we're doing.
I'm probably sure Wolverine had a purchasing policy and went out for bid too. Oh,
I would assume so, but
we don't know.
we
but
don't know that for sure, but all I do know is that is their preferred vendor for their fiber optic work they have done.
For a reason. Yep.
Have any questions?
Well, and the next one, so if we're done with that PO, that's good. I'll move on to the next one. So the PO to Lannis and Gear, why that is important is this is our AMI software, the head-end software. So when we installed AMI in 2020, we entered a contract with them for 5 years with fixed pricing. That contract is expiring at the end of the year. This is the renewal of it. So this is would be calendar year 26. Their contract runs calendar years. So by doing this, you're authorizing me, as I put in there, to enter an agreement with them for a 9-year fixed service agreement. The contract has been reviewed by legal. We've gone through it. Staff is happy with it. Legal's happy with it. So by approving this PO, I'm asking you to authorize me to enter into that 9-year agreement with Lannis and Gear to continue using the AMI system we use. Any questions on that?
Would you call the roll, please?
Crum,
Yes.
Knopf,
Yes.
Welling,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes. Next on the agenda is Public Act 152. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution to adopt the annual exemption option as set forth in Public 152?
Make the motion.
Second.
Okay,
Bob, you want
a
to
little more background on that. I
explain
think.
beyond the packet?
I think most of you guys have been through this before, so I'll keep it short, but Public Act 152 is something here in the state of Michigan that limits the amount of a public employee can spend on an employee's health insurance. Historically, every year, the Board of Power has opted out, as do many public entities throughout the state. There is really 3 ways to do it. Is the state gives you a hard cap number, and then if you're underneath that limit, you have to do nothing. The second option is what they call an 80-20. So if you're over the limit, you can adopt an 80-20 plan and have a resolution to do such, and the employees would have to pay 80% of, I'm sorry, the employer pays 80%, the employee pays 20% of the total premium costs. The last one is just exempting out of it and just letting everybody know that we are paying more than the hard cap for our employees. That is what the Board of Light and Power has always done. That is what staff is recommending currently. That aligns up with what we have negotiated in our union contracts, et cetera. So our employees will be paying 8% per contract for their healthcare premiums. With that, I'd answer any questions if there's any more detail required for that.
Any questions for Rob? Listen, we did the same thing last year and
Yep.
the year before. This is just moving forward under the same position. Hearing no other comments, Danielle, would you call the roll, please?
Crum,
Yes.
Knopf,
Yes.
Welling,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes. For chairman's report, I only had the comment I'm mentioning. I know Jeffrey talked about the open house. I think it was great for those that were there. Nice to see old board members that I hadn't seen in a while, Larry Keith, see members of the public. Staff did an excellent job. I think the Power Town is always a big favorite of mine. Was well attended, and just thank your hard work for putting that together. It was other business.
I have a couple of items just for updates for the board. I know I get a lot of questions lately, how are things going on Harbor Drive? When are they going to be done? Kent Power is down there working not currently, it's after 5, but they are working weekly down there. They're down there working to bury everything. We have run into a couple little hiccups, and I'll turn it over to Austin here in a minute. He can give you a little more details on it, but we are working on it, and we're still working through our schedule. So Austin, with that.
Sure, I guess I can pick up where we left off last month. I think everyone knows that we have that hole in the sidewalk there on the riverside of Harbor Drive. So we did run into some snags on what is probably the most challenging part of that job. Long pole of very large wire. That's given us some trouble. The guys are continuing to work on all of the easier sections that they can do while our engineering consultants are looking into more complicated sections. So last month I told you our goal was still November 15th. I can tell you we had about a 3-week delay in this. So we're still pushing to get it done as soon as we can, but I'm expecting we're looking at probably a December timeframe before we have that project.
And then also in other news, I know we've been talked in the last few meetings about community solar and where we're at with that. I think the last I informed the board, I did go to the airport board meeting a couple months ago during public comment period, just kind of give them a heads up. I think there was some confusion there about, well, why aren't you on the agenda? Why aren't you doing these type of things? So took a step back. I've worked with city staff, and I do have a meeting coming up next Wednesday with the airport board chair and their liaison to kind of help get everybody on the same page and understand where we're at, what we're trying to do. And then at some point, once we do have some information, I would assume I will be going back to the airport board once there's actually something on paper more than a concept. So, but at this point, I just want everybody to know we're still working on it. We're working with the airport board, trying to make sure everybody is understanding the stage we're at, they're comfortable with everything we're doing, and trying to build that, I'll say, buy-in and understanding across the city, so.
You have anything on the coal yard? That looked really good.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw
The picture.
there's
and
a press release.
That's a big chunk of land. And
Yep.
that's a big chunk of that island. It's all pretty much done.
For now.
For
I
now.
mean, yeah, we don't expect to have to go there, but we're still gathering data. So we don't have a final plan for Harbor Island. The city and HDR are working diligently to get all the data put together, and I'm sure there's going to be some studies like, if we have to do a pump and treat, what kind of volume of water are we talking about? How are we gonna do discharge? All those things have to be answered, right? Before we actually get a final plan to march forward. So yes, the coal yard cleanup has been done. It looks good if you go out there, there's grass growing. The city did a great job. TL Contracting was the contractor, did a great job. It looks good. But
And flat.
nice and flat, nice.
We filled in that.
Filled in the
spot-
low spots,
that
so we won't have any
lumpy,
problems in the future, with groundwater or wetlands or any of those other issues that could come up. But I cautiously say, yes, I would tell you that project is a check mark. That area should be done. I'm sure there'll be something we'll have to dig up there eventually. Do something. I don't think we're gonna have to redo any of the work. I don't mean it that way. I don't want anybody misconstrue what I'm saying, but it's still a construction site out there, is what I'm getting at. And, we're not done till we're done, which is not gonna be years from now, as
It
I think
looks
we all
good.
know. But they did a great job and it looks good, and it's a big check mark on that. And I think we're getting closer. We do have meetings monthly with the city on updates and strategies and all that kind of stuff. So the team's working together well. We're making progress. And what I will tell people is, I think we all know this in this room, it's a long-term project out there. It's going to be years of cleaning up. I mean, Harbor Island didn't happen overnight. It's not going to be cleaned up overnight. So, but we're working on it, and you want to make sure you got all your T's crossed and your I's dotted before you start pulling the trigger on really some big ticket items and make sure we're doing what we need to do for the community.
As far as the coal cleanup goes, and
It looks great.
it's a big advancement forward. So
That's a
that's
big chunk of land.
good news.
That's,
Yep. So, and like I said, it's a nice green flat area right now, and it took a lot of, I say, knock the ugly off it.
and there was a clay liner underneath there though.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was actually one thing that did go really well, is on, the directions out there, everybody gets confused because you're following the river, right? But the non-river side of the coal yard, we had the runoff area that was clay lined. So, that was great to see. That made cleanup a lot easier because we had a containment layer. We thought we had, but it was good to see it when they got out there, and they did a great job of scraping that down, and well, with some beautiful clay, actually.
Yep.
I mean, so.
I think that's the only place where we had a clay liner, so that's.
All right. Second opportunity for public comment. I don't think you used up your second public. comment.
Good, oh, let it go. Let it go, come on. It's okay.
Hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion. Second.
Danielle, would you call the roll, please?
All right, I'm on the right page. Crum,
Yes.
Knoth,
Yes.
Welling,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes. Meeting adjourned.